Here at the Morning Buzz, we like to end on always a weird news story or just something funny that's going on. And I was going across TikTok the other day and I found one of the weirdest things I've seen in a while. I found out about a guy who's dead but alive. So I'm joined by the dead man, Jeff Athey. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good for a dead man. How are you?
I'm really happy to be talking to you. Can you tell the people who are listening who have no idea what I'm talking about you?
Yeah, sure thing. So, a couple years back in like 2017, I was incorrectly marked as deceased by the Social Security Administration, most likely due to some kind of clerical error. And since then, I've had to go through the process of legal resurrection to prove to the United States government that I am, in fact, Jeff Athey, and I am unfortunately still alive. So, over the course of a couple of years, I've kind of been dealing with that, still trying to convince a couple of the branches of the United States government that I'm alive who don't quite believe me yet. But that's my story in a nutshell.
That's insane. When I came across your account, I went through the entire thing. I loved it. I even went through your other content. I think you're hilarious and you're great. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, I need to talk to this guy. So, can you tell me about how does this even happen?
I couldn't tell you for sure. I thought this was something that was pretty uncommon when it first happened to me. And ever since I joined TikTok a couple of weeks ago, so many people have been reaching out to me telling me that, like, oh, they're going through this, or their mom, or their cousin, or their like friend at work, or something like that. Um, Unsurprisingly, the United States government apparently makes a lot of mistakes. And whenever they whenever they have to declare someone deceased, or I suppose like have to mark it into a computer system, sometimes there are human errors and sometimes they accidentally kill the wrong person. Um, so then it's just up to me to resurrect myself, I suppose.
So, if they have a term for it, that means that there's a problem. It means that's happened more than once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to imagine that this is like something that they've just had to define and start working through. It's not enough of a common process to where everyone I've talked to in the government knows about this or knows what it is. However, once I get high enough in like the Social Security Administration or the IRS, I usually find someone who's like, "Oh, this dude needs to get resurrected. Cool. Let's get on that process."
All right. Hey, boss, we got a special case. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I suppose it's just not something you talk about until like you get to a certain point. Gosh, the only reference that I'm thinking of, and there's got to be something else, but the only thing I can equate it to is there's like a thing in Scientology where like once you reach like a certain level, like you get like information about Scientology. And like that's how I assume resurrection within the United States government comes across. Like it's not something that exists until you are high enough in the government that they give you clearance to start resurrecting people.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. So you're talking to like Tom Cruise with the government right now?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. We're gonna make a movie about it. Tom Cruise is going to play every single government agent, and
Okay.
he is. I'm gonna have to like get past Tom Cruise in order to come back to life. It's gonna be an action thriller, but I'm very excited about
Yeah, I'd watch it. Summer blockbuster. Sounds great.
it.
So one of the things that I want to talk about with this is I think that you said this happened in 2017 and you're still going through the process. And I know that you've gotten through on some levels, like Social Security Administration, they've legally resurrected you, but you're having issues with paying your taxes and stuff like that.
Yep.
So what do you think this says about our government that 4 years later you are dead but alive still?
To be honest, I don't think it says anything unexpected. I think like no, I haven't come across a single person throughout this whole thing who like hears this and is like, "Oh, this has been like a 2-year process or like a 4-year process, however you want to look at it." And been like, this government still can't figure it out. No one's been like, how is that? What is happening in our government that this can't happen? Everyone's response is just like, oh, yep, that sounds about right. Um, just because there are so many how do I phrase it in a way that's nice? There are so many things that get overlooked and a lot of underpaid individuals within our government, and not enough time to put in the individual work and effort into every single little task. Like, I'm not mad about this at all. If it was going to happen to anyone, it might as well happen to me. Um, but at the end of the day, like, it's not just one single person who like made a mistake and slipped up, and if we fix that one person, like everything is going to go back to normal. It's just kind of like, I got to imagine there's something wrong with the process of marking death, that this is happening to thousands of people every year. um so that's also part of the reason where I don't really I try not to name individuals or like give addresses to any like locations that I'm like calling or anything like that, because it's no like one person who's
It's not
messing
like
up.
one
It's
person
just
had it
like
out for you.
the government is like making another mistake. Like the government is in like a three-camera sitcom, and we all know this, and we just accept it at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of what my impression is too, and I just think it's crazy, and I'm more surprised to hear that this is happening to a lot of people,
So am I,
and
because I
we
didn't know
are
this was
not hearing about it.
a thing. I feel like this is something that more people should be talking about. I got to imagine that it just doesn't happen to a whole lot of actors who, and so
Yeah,
eventually somewhere along the line, when this happens to somebody, not a whole lot of people are going to social media to talk about it. And I was like, "Ooh, this would be fun."
yeah,
Um, and
you're
here
the
we
perfect person to get this out because 'cause you're an actor by trade.
are. Yeah,
You
yeah.
should write a movie about this.
Oh, that has like been suggested by so many people. I work at like an
I can
acting
believe it.
studio. This has been, so I don't even know how many conversations I've had with people who are like, "Oh, let's brainstorm a movie for this right now." So I have like 30 scripts, 30 script ideas on the back burner that people are just like, "Hey, you should do this." And I'm like, "Cool, give me the money for it, and like let's go to town."
Yeah, yeah, I can believe that. So, how does this affect your career as an actor at
No,
all? It
I
doesn't?
mean,
Well, that's good at least.
no. Like oddly enough, like the things that it affects are generally whenever I am trying to get something from the government. So like it affected like when I was trying to vote, or like if I'm trying to get my tax return or a stimulus check. In that case, the government double checks to make sure I'm alive before actually giving me those things. However, my experience is when I'm looking to give the government something, like if I'm looking to pay the government taxes, I'm looking to work or do some kind of labor or something like that, they don't check to see if I'm alive before doing those things. They're totally cool if I'm dead and still paying taxes. So it's never really affected doing work or getting a job.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah.
That's good at least.
So it's something.
Yeah, I remember seeing in one of your videos about voting, and you just mentioned it.
Oh, yeah.
How does that process go? Because like you said, you can't really vote if you're dead and they won't allow it, but I remember you went through in one of your videos how you did.
Yeah. So the first time that I tried to do it, I didn't even know that I was dead yet. They were just ignoring all of my like voter registration and ballot requests and everything, and I just never was able to hear from anyone or figure out what was going on. Then I found out that I was dead a couple months later. So then, come like the 2020 election, I basically had to call the voter registration office to be like, "Hey, I think I have an inkling as to why you're not letting me vote. I want you to go into like your system, double check with the Social Security Administration to make sure that y'all are all on the same page. I will call you back in a couple of weeks to like make sure everything is like all kosher, and then I'll send in a ballot request." And that's essentially what I did. I just had to go in, go the extra mile to make sure that they had all of their information correct, because generally the government agencies that I have experienced don't really talk to each other. I have to convince someone to reach out to another part of the government to double check their information.
It's like talking to, like, a sibling you don't like.
Exactly. I have to prepare them. I have to be like, "Yo, I know what the problem is. I know where you're coming with this. Please, please, please just do your job, because all I want to do is vote."
That's really good that you will take the extra steps to be able to do that because we all know the importance of voting. That's really
Yeah, I
really
mean,
good.
like there wasn't anything that was going to stop me from voting in this election. Like even dying, like I was still going to like come through somehow. Like,
That's great. So, do you have anything you'd like to say to any other dead people out there?
oh gosh, I mean, the only thing that I can advise is have fun with it. It's not the end of the world. You can make lots of I'm dead jokes. They're very enjoyable.
I would love
And
to make I'm dead jokes.
right? It's really fun. People really underestimate a fun I'm dead joke. Um, and the last thing is, hey, contact your congressperson because that's the best advice that I got. And my congressperson has been super chill and like really helpful in figuring out this process. And I didn't know that. So yeah, call your congressperson because they'll help you because it's their job.
That's that's awesome. Thank you, Jeff, for sitting in so much. I had a great time talking to you,
I had a
and
good.
I hope that I hope that you can be resurrected.
I hope so too.
Yeah. You haven't listened to the Morning Buzz on 90.3 WMSC over Montclair. I just talked to Jeff Athey, the living dead man. If you are interested in seeing his TikToks, he is at the next best Jeff on TikTok. And I know I'm going to be watching it because I want to see just how long it's going to take him to be proven alive. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you tomorrow for our Super Buzz.